Greetings, tribe. Welcome to 8 Days of Prey, part 7 of 8. We are nearing the end, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the 2 upgrades that will round out this series. Part 8 will be the DNA huge, ginormous upgrade kit. Look at the size of this thing. We know how big Predaking is, and I am quite a distance away from the table right now. Usually it's up close. I can take a nice close look at this stuff, but this guy is so huge. I've had to move the camera back quite a ways. But here's the upgrade kit that will be part 8 of this series. Part 7 today will be the shiny gold chrome sword, which was released by Crazy Devy. I can't believe it's been this long. 2011 is when this thing came out. It is no longer available anywhere as far as I can tell. I did a quick search. Big Bad Toy Store has been sold out for quite a while. They had them on an amazing sale, so I was able to pick up 2 of them at that time, but they are sold out now, and I don't think they'll be releasing them again. I haven't seen any Crazy Devy stuff being reissued for quite some time. So this is more of a retrospective thing than a you can go out and get this if you like it type of thing. It might pop up on eBay, but it'll probably be a little pricey if it does. But 2 things you can still get at Big Bad Toy Store are Power of the Prime's Predaking, still available there, as well as there's a pre-order I noticed that just came up for the Platinum Edition G1 reissue of Predaking. So these are a bunch of Crazy Devy add-on parts I've put on him. It won't have that. It's just going to be the basic G1 Predaking, but with gold coloration on him instead of the yellow that the original one had. So that just popped up, I noticed, on Big Bad Toy Store. Pre-order for Platinum Predaking. I really love this guy, so if you've always wanted a G1 official release of Predaking, that's going to be available on Big Bad Toy Store very soon. So here's a look at the packaging that the Crazy Devy sword came in. Really nice gold coloration on here. Got the logo right there. And on the other side, an outline of not Predaking. We all know it's Predaking. And up here, Crazy Devy's Most Wanted. Ages 16 and up. So I've taken it out of here, but it came in this little packaging envelope that you could open up like that. And it was packaged in a baggie to protect. Wow. Shiny gold chrome. Look at this thing gleaming. It is absolutely stunning. Beautiful chrome job here. There have been some issues with even the official Takara Masterpiece Chrome. I'm thinking back to the Masterpiece Hot Rod on his pipes, but this is an absolutely beautiful chrome paint application. And I'm going to show you what this looks like on a couple of different Predakings. So the original Predaking, this is a knockoff of a G1 Predaking. So his tolerances were off a little bit for some reason. His fist holes were smaller than I believe the original Predaking had. The standard G1 Optimus Prime fist posts. So what I ended up doing was drilling his other fist hole. If you take a look at these two, you can see the one I've drilled is just a little bit wider. It's easier to tell in person. One of the issues with G1 Predaking was that he didn't actually come with his own specific sword. You could just take one of the Predacon swords, pop it in, and it was grossly undersized for how big and, if I may say, beefy this guy was. The sword just, it didn't do the job. Now, when the Platinum Edition was released, they included this sword right here. And it's a little bit better. It's a little bigger than any of the individual Predaking swords. That's not bad. That's pretty good. It's double-bladed. You can turn it either which way. But still, this kind of honey wax candle look to it, texture to it. It's not really gold. Thank God it's not gold plastic, so it won't have gold plastic syndrome, but it's just kind of, I appreciate the effort. And the sculpt is beautiful. Really nice gap in between there, but it's kind of underwhelming. So thank goodness for Crazy Devy. Now, this is a giant handle, which is more designed for Masterpiece style, or Power of the Primes, or Siege, or Earthrise. But a really, really awesome feature here is that you can take the handle and you just twist back and forth. Do this for anything that functions like this. Instead of just pulling on it, you might break it. Just a twist back and forth, and this handle comes off, revealing this still chromed, still shiny handle, which can now be inserted into your G1 Predaking's fist. And now he is playing with power. That is amazing. This particular KO reissue Predaking is really floppy. He has trouble holding his own weight up. But this sword is not that heavy. So I'm not having much trouble with this fairly troublesome G1 reissue Predaking holding this sword up. Luckily, there's not that much weight to it, and it just explodes with light. The width of the blade, just absolutely beautiful. I love chrome. Chrome can really punch up some of these classic sculpts, and this is a beautiful example right here of a G1 Predaking with nothing really added to him. I don't even have the stickers on him. He doesn't have any shiny paint, any silver or gold paint on him, but just giving him this sword does so much for making him a much more stunning display piece. And here's a look at the Platinum Edition Predaking with some more Crazy Devy upgrade parts. It's got the wings, the waist, the fists, and the scale is a little bit better here. The sword is a little oversized with your regular G1 Predaking, but with the extra height, extra parts, and especially with those wings that are chrome just as beautifully as the sword. Also Crazy Devy wings. That really goes nicely together. And the one I'm sure most people want to see what he looks like with this sword is the Power of the Primes Predaking. I was taking a look at the picture on the back of the box, and I just noticed that this arm piece, when I was combining him in the last video, wasn't as floppy as I originally had it, and I noticed that this can actually go in. So this is just a little addendum to the previous video. You can open up his arms, these dive bomb arms like this, and you can actually push this in. See how that ratchets? So he's got the same bicep swivel as Tantrum and Headstrong, but that looks a little bit cleaner. If you want the extra joint there, you can just separate that. That's fine. And I also noticed the official transformation has these eagle feet popped in like this, but I prefer with the eagle feet out. This kind of reminds me of Grimlock, how Grimlock has those dino claws on his wrist, and also I think it just looks better based on how the other wrist looks too. He's got some stuff popping out over the wrist here, so he should have some stuff popping out over here as well. And one more addendum I wanted to add is that when I added his shoulder cannons, I plugged them into the Razor Claw feet parts, back here. So there's 2 holes back there, and you can just stick that in there. And since doing that video, I noticed there's holes in his back right here, which the guns can be inserted in there as well. And that's an official transformation that I actually prefer. I think that looks a little bit better, having them a little bit closer to his head. They were a little further back where I originally had them, so I think that looks a bit better. But let's add a Crazy Devy chrome sword to this guy, since he didn't include one, and that's a real oversight. I think the sword is a really important part of Predaking's look, and it's really surprising to me that they didn't include some sort of sword. So luckily there's this one if you can track it down. There is a sword in the DNA upgrade kit and a couple of other third-party swords, but with these fists that were included with Power of the Prime's Predaking, all you have to do is you pop this handle back on. You can't really hold it if you don't put this handle on. It's just too much of a gap. It won't sit snugly. So you just twist this back on like that and feed it through. Close it. And it's still loose, but it's not going to fall out because of this end piece. See how that catches on there? So that's nice that it won't just drop out. You don't want to be dropping this sword with it being chrome. It's going to scuff up pretty easily. And it sits beautifully in his hand. There's no issues with the hilt bumping in to, even with the eagle feet out the way I have them. You can pop them in, which would be even better, but they just, this hilt part just sits in between the 2 eagle feet, or you can turn it this way if you want to show the hilt off. The problem with that though is that the bottom part isn't held in place anymore. If you want it to be held in place, then you're going to have to feed it through a little bit more like that. And since he has his gun on his right arm now, I think I'll put the sword in the other hand, just so that he has a weapon in both hands. This Predaking is ambidextrous, and I'd say that size is absolutely perfect. Perfect size for this Power of the Prime's Predaking. Same deal as the G1 version. This Power of the Prime's Predaking doesn't really have that much like really gleaming chrome-like stickers. There's one on this guy right here, but the wings are painted that kind of silver gold. Same with the mane on the chest there. But this sword, just being this giant mass of gleaming gold chrome, does wonders for this guy's displayability. And he's got enough range to allow him for a couple of different dynamic sword slashing poses, sword at the ready poses. He's not just basically a brick like the G1 version. So if you're a sword aficionado like myself, then you have a lot of options for how you want Predaking to display the sword. His joints, like I said, are stiff enough, strong enough to be able to hold the sword one-handed, but he does look fantastic just holding the blade like so. And because the post is compatible with a lot of regular G1 posts, you can use it for someone like G1 Galvatron or this modern recolor of a G1 Galvatron. And if you thought this guy had a giant cannon, that was something to be reckoned with. Look at the size of this sword. So that's part 7 of the Power of the Prime's 8 Days of Prey series. Only one more to go. Thanks so much for watching and all the wonderful comments that everyone's left. Glad to hear so many of you have enjoyed the series. I've really enjoyed being able to futz around with this guy finally after having him for a year. Thank you to the Patreon tribe for powering this channel and for your support and encouragement. Feel free to share the video around the internet, leave a Preda thought in the comments spot, and to join the tribe, slice subscribe. Nerd mistake.